The water was already climbing the wooden planks when the first scream tore through the cold air, sharp enough to cut through the fog and silence of the harbor. A woman sat trapped in a wheelchair at the edge of a collapsing pier, her hands shaking, her breath breaking, while the dark water crept higher with every second. What no one noticed at first was the small German shepherd puppy standing rigid beside her, ears alert, eyes burning with a determination far larger than his fragile body. And somewhere in the distance, a Navy SEAL was about to have his life changed forever. Before the story unfolds any further, take a moment right now. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unseen bonds that connect strangers in moments of crisis, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. The woman's name was Emily Carter, and until that morning, her world had already been defined by loss. 2 years earlier, a drunk driver had changed everything, leaving her unable to walk and stripping away the future she once imagined. Friends faded, opportunities vanished, and the city she loved became a maze of barriers and reminders of what she could no longer do. The only constant in her life was Max, a German shepherd puppy she had rescued from a shelter when he was barely old enough to stand on unsteady paws. He had been labeled difficult, too anxious, too loud, too needy. Emily saw herself in him instantly. They learned each other slowly, healing in quiet ways, finding strength in routines and simple moments by the water. That morning, the pier was supposed to be peaceful. Emily liked the harbor because it reminded her that motion still existed, that tides could change even when legs could not. But storms do not ask for permission. Heavy rain upstream had raised the water level overnight, weakening old supports beneath the pier. When a section gave way without warning, Emily's wheelchair rolled forward as the wood cracked beneath it, plunging the front wheels into freezing water. Panic set in as the chair jammed against broken planks, half submerged and impossible to move. Her arms strained uselessly. Her voice echoed unanswered across the empty docks. Max sensed danger before Emily fully understood it. His body tensed, paws skidding on wetwood as he tried to pull at her jacket, whining and circling. The water was rising faster now, soaking Emily's clothes, numbing her legs she could not feel but still feared losing forever to the cold. She knew help was unlikely. The harbor was quiet. The city was waking slowly. Time was slipping away. Several hundred yards away, Lieutenant Daniel Hayes was finishing his morning run. Years of Navy SEAL training had wired his senses to detect changes others ignored, but that morning his mind was heavy, distracted by memories he couldn't outrun. He had lost teammates in missions that still replayed in his dreams, and civilian life had not softened the edges. Running near the harbor was his attempt to find calm in movement, to replace chaos with rhythm. That was when he saw the puppy. Max broke from the pier and sprinted down the dock, paws splashing through puddles, barking with frantic urgency. He didn't run randomly. He ran straight toward Daniel, stopping just short of him, then turning back, barking again, eyes locked, body trembling with purpose. Years of combat had taught Daniel to read signals, and this was no ordinary dog behavior. Something was wrong. The puppy ran back toward the pier, looking over his shoulder repeatedly, waiting, insisting. Daniel followed without hesitation, his instincts igniting like muscle memory. As he reached the broken section of the dock, the scene hit him with brutal clarity. Emily sat trapped, water now reaching her waist, her face pale with fear and exhaustion. The structure around her was unstable, boards shifting with every wave. One wrong move could send everything collapsing. Daniel moved fast, assessing angles, weight, timing. He knew cold water rescues, knew how quickly strength vanished in conditions like these. He anchored himself to a solid beam, lowering his body carefully, distributing weight, keeping his movements controlled. Max stayed close, barking once, then going silent, watching every motion as if he understood the stakes. The rescue was not clean or easy. The chair was wedged tight, metal twisted against broken wood. Daniel forced himself into the icy water, teeth clenched against the shock, muscles screaming as he worked to free the frame. Emily clung to consciousness, focusing on Max's eyes, drawing strength from the steady presence that had never left her side. When the chair finally gave way, Daniel lifted her with every ounce of strength he had, guiding them both back onto stable ground as the pier groaned behind them. By the time emergency services arrived, Emily was shaking violently, wrapped in blankets, Max pressed against her chest, refusing to move. Daniel stood nearby, soaked and silent, watching as life returned to a woman who had been seconds from disappearing beneath the water. He felt something shift inside him, something he hadn't felt since leaving the teams. Purpose. The story didn't end there. In the days that followed, Daniel visited Emily in the hospital, first out of obligation, then out of something deeper. He learned about her life, her accident, her isolation, and how Max had become her reason to keep going. Emily learned about Daniel's past, the missions, the losses, the weight he carried long after the uniform came off. They didn't fix each other. They simply understood. Max became the bridge between them. The puppy who had once been labeled difficult revealed an intelligence and loyalty that stunned trainers and doctors alike. His instincts, his focus, his refusal to abandon Emily in danger became a local story, then a national one. But what cameras couldn't capture was the quiet transformation happening behind the scenes. Daniel began training Max, not as a weapon, but as a service and support dog. The discipline of training gave Daniel structure again, while Max thrived under purpose. Emily regained confidence, venturing out more, trusting the world a little further each day. The harbor no longer represented fear. It became a symbol of survival. Months passed, and the three formed an unbreakable unit. Emily began speaking at rehabilitation centers, telling her story not as a victim, but as someone who survived because she was not alone. Daniel volunteered with veteran support groups, using his experience to help others navigate life after service. Max stood proudly beside them, a living reminder that heroes do not always wear medals or speak human words. The pier was eventually repaired, stronger than before. On the day it reopened, Emily returned in her wheelchair, Max at her side, Daniel standing just behind. The water was calm, reflecting the sky in soft blues and grays. Emily rolled forward to the edge, not with fear, but with gratitude. She had faced the worst moment of her life there and had emerged changed, not broken. Just before this story reaches its end, take a moment and leave a comment below. Tell us what part of this journey touched you the most, or share a story of kindness or rescue that changed your life. Your words matter more than you know. As the sun dipped lower that evening, Emily watched Max chase birds along the dock, his paws confident, his tail high. Daniel stood nearby, hands in his pockets, finally at peace with stillness. None of them had planned to meet. None of them had known how much they needed one another. Yet in the chaos of collapsing wood and rising water, something extraordinary had formed. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that hope can come from the smallest places and that courage often arrives on four paws, please like this video, share it, and engage with the channel. Your support helps keep these stories alive, reaching hearts that may be waiting for a reason to believe again. Because sometimes, the one who saves us is not the strongest, the loudest, or the most prepared. Sometimes, it is a puppy who refuses to give up, a stranger who listens to instinct, and a moment that proves lives can change forever in the space between fear and faith.